Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Alex Wong, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be revealing our highest converting follow-up sequence that is working right now in 2020-25 for cold email. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, obviously the first email is supposed to be the most converting. Well, yes, in theory that is true. However, because business owners and people who are getting cold emails aren't necessarily expecting your first email and they're going to be like, oh, this is what's working. Some people might just look at it and move on. Now, once you keep going in front of them, then you give yourself a greater possibility of trying to book them in. Now, here's the caveat though. If you are going to email them, I'm just following up, I'm just checking in, calendar link when you're ready, flat out, none of that stuff is going to work. You stick to the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you the exact scripts that we've been using over the last year that have allowed us to book well over 500 plus meetings in the last 6 months just from the follow-up. So now let's get right into this. As I said before, the first email that you are sending is critical. No question about it. It's going to set the tone, introduce your offer, and opens the door to a connection, right? I need you to understand not to lose this focus. If I were to read this email, will I actually respond? Cliche, I know. But the thing is that when you're writing these emails, so many people get other emails like it. That's why transitioning your offer into an outbound ready offer and having that essential go-to-market strategy allows you to understand all these marketing psychologies on what actually determines a person to say, yes, I am interested. And without you knowing that answers, what their pains, their desires, and dream outcomes are, and how you are going to be that bridge to their dream outcome, you're just going to be another email swimming in the dust that's saying, hey, would you like free leads, or whatever the case may be. Okay? Now, this part of the sequence is very often overlooked, and it's because, yes, a massive share of the actual conversions do come from the first email. However, I'm going to show you case proof time and time again where some certain campaigns we have ran have actually end up being a bulk of conversions on the second and third scripts. And again, you stick to the end, I'm going to show you the ones that have been working almost every single time for us. So, hopping right into this, again, just to go over what we're going to talk about today is how we're going to maximize our follow-up sequence so we get the most replies and meetings booked. And I'm also going to show you how many emails you should be sending, how many steps in your sequence should be tailored to that specific industry, as well as should you reply in a thread or start a new one, and examples along the way. Now, again, this isn't just a theory that I made up. This is going over all the data from the millions of emails we have sent, and we've seen firsthand of what works and what gets ignored, all right? All right, why the first email matters more than you think. Once again, before we even get to the follow-up, we need to set the precedence of the entire flow from the first email. And the first email is going to set that tone for you. And it's important to understand the moment when you begin to establish credibility or just sending something that's going to get you completely ignored basically determines how successful the campaign is going to be. A strong first email does three things. It introduces what you could do for them, gives them a reason to care, and basically opens a loop that they'll want to see closed. And if that first message is off, too vague, too pushy, too generic, your follow-ups are already going to be fighting an uphill battle. Now, once again, the first email isn't everything because some people may miss it, may never see it, and because of those reasons, having a second or third email basically just reinvents that offer. Always you want to be creating curiosity, deliver relevance every time, and make it effortlessly for them to keep reading or reply, and when it's done right, it gives your follow-ups context, power, and a real shot at landing the reply later. So while this breakdown is about the follow-up sequence, never forget that the first email lays the groundwork for everything that follows, right? A couple examples here, right, of how the scripts could look. You have some type of relevancy first, and then you do your A and B testing, and then how you help them with a case study anywhere that sees fit. But following the line of personalization, social proof, call to action, and basically how you can help them. What are they actually going to get from working with you? And guys, when I say this, you know that it needs to be something that they actually can get. I'm not talking about a nice website. I'm not talking about, a cool decked out social media account. What do you actually help them with, right? One of the three main things: saving time, making money, saving money. Now, how many follow-ups should you actually send? This is where a lot of people get it completely wrong. I've talked to people who, when they're doing cold email, at least for the first time or been doing it for a while, they send 6, 7, 8 follow-up emails, hoping that persistence will eventually win. But what happens is that your inbox is going to look desperate, okay? The copy gets lazy and the message loses impact and it just becomes noise, right? Once again, here's the truth. It's just not about sending more, it's about sending better. This is just a main philosophy that even we believe in, that if you just go out and send out a bunch of junk everywhere, it's not gonna work. Now, if you send out a bunch of high quality stuff, it's going to convert a lot better. And if your first emails were good enough, you don't need to send 10 emails for someone to just get a reply. Now again, understand understand the purpose of the follow-up emails is that they're not just reminders, they're opportunities to reframe your offer, rebuild the attention, and create momentum. And again, if you play it right, you don't need some massive sequence to get results. And I recommend a 2 to 3 step sequence. That's it. You could go up to 4, but I would never recommend sending more than that. It's better to save that person from all those emails and then retarget them later down the line in a brand new campaign. Now, once it goes for, should I send in a thread or not? This has been something that has been talked about as of late recently, and I'll tell you, after testing consistently between having a thread reply and not having a thread reply, I have seen better results without the thread reply. Now, you can say that that's not the case for you, and again, it comes with the offer, the industry, and who you're reaching out to, by basically just taking your first email, reframing it to easier to say yes to and higher value. Instead of just being a thread, you're just being a brand new email, and you even can mention it. That's fine. Like, as I mentioned in my first email, is something you could say, but having a new thread just allows you to re-pop up that, okay, this guy's not desperate per se. All right, because when these touches are done, you're not chasing, you're guiding. That's the whole goal. You want to build authority with every message instead of wear it down. Less noise, more actions are going to get better replies. As I told you guys before, business owners are busy. So just because they didn't respond to the first email doesn't mean that they thought it wasn't worth their time. I'll tell you guys a story as well. I had a hiring agency keep reaching out to me until the time I needed what they had to offer, and I asked them to set up a meeting. And basically, once that time came where I actually needed it, we got on a call and I got closed. Because you know why? I didn't answer the first couple emails. Even I think after like the 4th email said that I'm not looking for this right now, but maybe a little bit later. And when that later eventually came, guess who I thought about? It was them. And I emailed back to them saying, all right, I think I'm ready now, let's go. Okay? So when you pack these emails with value instead of saying, hey, I'm just following up, you give yourself continuous good chances at converting the email to positive interest. Now again, you're probably thinking to yourself, is the first step supposed to be the best? And this is where people often miss, because again, you don't want to say I'm following up. I'll tell you right now, I've had several emails, cold emails to myself today that are people just saying I'm just following up. Now look at this. When you start, this is real proof example from our campaigns, that sometimes the best performing steps come from the follow-up, okay? This is one of our campaigns that we recently just ran, actually, which are A and B testing the first line. The second line performed a lot better than the first one. But look at the bulk of interested replies came from step 2, okay? And another 8 from step 3. Now, going to another one as well. This was a smaller campaign, but you could see how step 1 and 2 was completely different, right? 4 in total compared to 9, time and time again. We have this other one, which this one's even a little bit more different. This is A and B testing step 1 and 2. Then step 3 had 7 interested. Then, last, of course, where this would be another case scenario, we see step 3 had 13 interested replies right at the end. Okay, so basically, having any type of these high converting follow-ups put you at the best possible chance for success when you're writing your entire cold email campaign, and you have to take every step into account. Now, ideas for your follow-ups can follow as these, but once again, I can't hand you the holy grail of what's going to work. This is what's worked really well for us. That doesn't necessarily mean it'll work well for you, but that's the fun that comes in A and B testing different things and seeing if it works out. Now, we have different follow-ups from, let me know if this employee 1 or 2 is better about ideas. We just help case get result using our unique selling proposition. Can I send a video explaining how it works? I imagine you need to leave past companies stoked about problem. Is there any discussion about this internally? Wasn't sure if I should send this to you or colleague, right? I'll confidently tell you though that this wasn't sure if I should send this to you or colleague has been working the best. And just think about it logically, right? Again, don't overthink these things. Just think about it logically. I wasn't sure if I should reach out to you or your coworker. Here's the message. Can I send more info to you or coworker? The chances of them saying yes to that has been just always amazing. Or not even saying yes to that. Even if they point you in the right direction of the right person, a lot of people struggle for leads. So because someone points you in the right direction, don't get lazy and say like, oh, it's whatever. Like, actually email them, because that's what business is. That's what's a part of sales. That's what's a part of marketing, and it's how you go about these little steps that all make up the big picture. All right. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to comment down below. If you're interested in working with us, there's a link in the description. You could book a call with us anytime, and I'll see you guys in the next video.